Greetings. This is the man who pretends to be Charles Darwin, and I'm sitting in a peaceful, beautiful forest in Oklahoma. And right beside me is what ought to be the Oklahoma state plant. This is poison ivy. Now, you have to learn how to recognize poison ivy, because if you don't, you have to be afraid of every plant, because it might be poison ivy. But if you know how to recognize it, you are free, at liberty, to roam around in the forest. Knowledge is power. What I'm here to explain to you today is, along with other videos that I've made in this series that are working towards an ultimate book on the subject, that the plants in a silent forest are actually struggling for their existence. Each plant is struggling against all the other plants to make as much food as possible through photosynthesis, which it does with its leaves, and to therefore produce as many seeds and win in the game of evolutionary natural selection. Now, part of that is that the leaves have to defend themselves against animals that would otherwise eat them. So that's why it is that the leaves of wild plants are almost always more or less toxic. And what poison ivy does is it produces a chemical called urushiol, which is what causes us to have the rash and discomfort of poison ivy when we come in touch with it. But any plant that did not defend its leaves against animals that would eat it will disappear down the gullets of extinction. But you see, defense comes at a cost. The plants have to use energy to make those defensive chemicals. Therefore, any plant that defended itself too much would just as surely go extinct as a plant that did not defend itself enough. Part of the silent struggle for existence is that the plants have to invest just the right amount of defenses in their leaves. Not too much and not too little. That is part of the struggle for existence that is occurring all around us in the forest. I hope you look at a forest a different way next time you go into it, that you don't just see the plants sitting there in the sunlight, but you can see the struggle going on invisibly. You have to imagine it, and it is totally silent. Now, there's something else about this, and that is, as soon as we think we've got everything all figured out, it turns out that there is a mystery. You see, and you're going to hear this correctly, poison ivy is not poison. You heard that right. The urushiol that is in these leaves is not poisonous to other mammals. Deer eat the leaves, squirrels can eat the berries. What happens is it causes an immune response in human beings, and that doesn't make any sense. Would natural selection have produced urushiol as a way of protecting the poison ivy from us? We don't eat it, so that doesn't make any sense. Then what is the reason? Well, I haven't heard an explanation of it. It's one of those mysteries that perhaps will be explained someday. In scientific investigation, there are always some things that we have not yet answered. This is the man who pretends to be Charles Darwin. Tally ho, and amen.